Good morning again. I've already been up for 4 hours. How is everyone going this morning on this happy Sunday? I just spoke to a whole lot of people, a whole lot of men, a lot of them in Queensland and other places where there's no restrictions, and I'm very, very jealous of what they're going to be doing on a Sunday. Blaze just asked me what the weather was like in Melbourne. I'm like, who cares? Who knows what's happening outside? It's best to just stay indoors. Okay, so today I'm going to talk to you about parents that are defending what they call healthy sexuality to the nth degree, to the point where I got abused yesterday. Okay, so what I mean by that is I'll give you an example of what happened. So it's called That Parent Group, and I have reported them. So if you're in part of that group, then you'll see, I'm sure, lots of these Facebook groups are full of people with loads of opinions and no education. And I know to be very careful and not to jump in with all the solutions and things like that. But there was a post a lady had put up asking about some advice for her child, that a son who was 12, who had made his own flashlight, which is a sex toy, and wasn't cleaning it properly, and there were hygiene issues and whatever. At first, I thought it was about pornography because she used, she said, making his own and then P**********Y. And I thought she meant pornography. And all I did was comment on the post saying, look, I'm a porn addiction specialist. I work with, teens as well. If you'd like to have a chat, then reach out. What she actually was saying was he'd made a pussy, right? Which was found really strange that she used that language as well. Anyway, so I just left it there. Didn't give any advice, just said if you want to have a chat. So then a whole lot of people commented on my post. Basically, one lady just shut me down straight away. This post is not about porn. I don't know what you're talking about. It's healthy to masturbate. Thanks. And I said, okay, so I'm just tuning into some of the signs of porn in kids, and this is one of them. So just happy to help. And she's like, well, masturbation is healthy. And then I knew not to try and defend myself, but, just opened up the conversation and said, I specialize in male sexual health. I talk to 13-year-olds every day. I have books and things that if you'd like to read, because obviously they hadn't looked me up and they didn't know who I was. One lady came to my defense and said, she's just trying to be professional and offer her services. Anyway, this lady came on and she started gaslighting. Well, if you specialize in male sexual health, then you should know that masturbation is healthy. And they kept going on about masturbation being healthy and that porn was never mentioned. So what the hell am I doing here, and what am I even saying? And I was like, are you all missing? I don't see how you think that a 12-year-old that is making his own sex toys has not seen porn, right? Oh, but the mother didn't mention it, and she'd be offended that you even, like, whoa, kids don't tell their parents ever, unless you catch them, that they're looking at porn. He could have been watching porn since he was 5 years old, because that's a very common age these days. I just did a men's health group, and, the most common age was 8 to 11. So there was a whole lot of people then commenting on the sexuality and that it's normal for a boy to masturbate, and they were defending it as if I was saying that it was a problem, and that this post is about hygiene issues. This has nothing to do with porn, and then there was a lot of gaslighting, and I reported it, and I reported the group, and I got out of there quickly because it actually started to affect me. I was shocked at how these people were acting. Anyway, one of the women that was gaslighting, she was actually the moderator, which I just said to her, I don't understand how you are the moderator of this group and you're just constantly attacking me. Anyway, so my point is, I have daily contact with men, with sometimes 30 men a day, all right? I'm not just treating one man a day. I do research, I've got books, I talk to men all the time, I go into men's groups, right? The average age of watching porn, even for these men who are in their 40s, and it's so different now for kids, is between 5 and 11, right? These men were once teenagers, and these men didn't even have smartphones, right? So you've got to understand that I know you think your child is perfect, right? There is nothing wrong with children being curious around sexuality. Kids are born sexual beings. We are all born sexual beings, and we get it all squashed and conditioned out of us, right? I am all for healthy sexuality and healthy masturbation, and I teach conscious self-pleasure. I talk to teens all the time. I know exactly what's going on, and none of these teens are telling their parents. So you are not going to know if your kids are watching porn, right? None of the men are telling their wives. So you're not going to know, even if you know your partner watches porn, you trust me when I say you do not know the degree at which he is entertaining this habit. And there's a lot of other things that feed into this habit. There could be massages and sex workers and cheating and dating sites and all of the things that go with this. And it is very common, right? I've never, ever met a man, and I've asked all of them, it's on my form, does your partner know about the extent of your addiction? No, never. Some of them have now told their partners because I have coached them through that. I have an article online which teaches men how to tell their partners about their porn addiction in an open, constructive environment. But you have to, every time I talk about kids and sexuality and porn, everyone jumps on board. People watch my videos, they share my interviews, they yes, we don't want that in their lives. We understand how bad it is. Yet all the men are watching it. All the dads are watching it. And all the women are actually defending their men and their kids around porn. This isn't something you need to defend against, right? It's just you just need to accept it and educate yourself around it, right? These people were so triggered yesterday. All of these mums were triggered by the fact that all I did was say that, there's obviously porn involved here. I work with Holly Ann Martin in Safe for Kids. We've done interviews. We know the signs that kids have been watching porn. It's really obvious, right? They're sexualized at a young age. They have no boundaries. They don't understand consent because they don't have any context around it, right? You have to speak to your kids about porn all the time, just like you have to speak to them all the time about sexual functions and bodily functions and the opposite sex. I've taught my daughter all about men and men's bodies and what can happen and what can go wrong and what can go wrong in sex and how that feels to a man. I've educated her on all of that. She knows exactly what it's like to be a woman as well because I've given her that perspective. So please educate your children. I have books that you can read. I will not put up with attacks like that, gaslighting. Even the moderators were like, you're not being attacked. We'd like to keep on topic. And we don't like this topic. This kid had made a flashlight. He's 12 years old. He has definitely seen porn. How else would he know what a flashlight is, right? It is so taboo, Pat. It's so taboo, and that's what feeds the demon, right? This is a brain addiction. This isn't a sex addiction. I speak to 13-year-olds nearly every single day on Instagram, and they are addicted to porn. It's not just that they've seen porn, they're addicted to porn. They're watching it all the time. I had a 16-year-old contact me years ago. He's now 18. He was watching it 36 times a day, right? Do you think his mum knows? No. And I can't treat these guys without parental supervision and consent, right? The 17-year-olds are all impotent and they're suicidal. They have performance anxiety. This is all because of porn, right? Porn causes a brain addiction, right? I'll just explain to you what porn addiction is. Porn creates a chemical fireworks display in your brain, right? So you've got serotonin, dopamine, and oxytocin are the three main chemicals produced, as well as getting tunnel vision and opiates in that tunnel vision. Now, tunnel vision is my mum's coming down the hallway, an earthquake is starting, I'm already masturbating, and I want this ending. I want to ejaculate. So you don't stop because you just feel so good when you're in that tunnel, right? Serotonin is a happy hormone, so you get to feel happy. Guys that have depression, anxiety, autism, Asperger's, and what did I say, depression, anxiety, all masturbate way more than the guys that don't, right? And that's very common for men to have those things anyway. So we see it a lot. So that's the serotonin. Then the oxytocin is the bonding hormone. The bonding hormone is I'm bonding with the porn acts, the subconscious mind, because you're having a reaction in the body, your tingles and you're feeling horny and your heart's racing and all that stuff. You're bonding because your subconscious mind thinks it's happening to you. Just like if you're watching a movie crying, you're having a reaction, a chemical reaction, an emotional reaction, which then means the subconscious mind thinks it's happening to you. If you think about all of the porn that you've watched since you were however old, your brain, your personality, because it's the personality is at the frontal lobe which gets damaged, thinks that you've actually experienced this stuff. So then you go into a relationship and everything seems boring. Vanilla sex. She can't keep up with me. There's not enough variety. Blah, blah, blah. There's no fantasies being... I'm writing a book at the moment and I'm nearly finished. And it's all about this. It's all about what porn... The first book was about porn addiction, how it affects the brain. And then the rest of it is about how the porn addiction is affecting the rest of the world. Right? Then you've got your dopamine. Dopamine is the addictive hormone and it's the novelty drug. I like what I see. I'm going to see more of that. And you go into this like adrenaline feel of the rush, right? Then you've got a part of the brain called the hindbrain, which says, we didn't die from this yesterday, let's do it again today. And that impulse keeps clicking away until you actually watch it again. So men will say to me, I feel great for a couple of days after I've masturbated, and then I just have to watch porn again. I don't know what's wrong with me, right? And it's because the brain is addicted to the chemicals and hormones, just like if you took drugs, right? If you took cocaine every single day, there's a high, and as you start to come down into the low, take another one, and there's a high, and then a high, and then a high. So you're trying to stay in a high because you get this rush of chemicals and hormones. And when you couple porn with masturbation, it's even more full on, the fireworks display in the brain. The neurotransmitters, the neural chemicals, the neural pathways that form in the brain because of porn. Basically, if I feel shit and I'm getting picked on at school, or if my parents are fighting, or I'm stressed, or I don't want to do my homework, or I feel inadequate, I'm being bullied, and I masturbate, I get to feel this. I get to feel empowered and I get to feel pleasure, and that's a neural pathway, right? A little pathway in the brain. We need to break those neural pathways, and we do that with conscious self-pleasure. That's a whole other video, right? So this brain can't handle all these chemicals and hormones in the brain being produced, so it has to adapt and it has to accommodate for all these extra chemicals, so it changes, right? So your brain gets addicted to its own chemicals and hormones. It's not a sex addiction, and sex addiction, this is my opinion, my professional opinion, is always a porn addiction turned into something else. Always. I've never ever seen a client with a sex addiction that didn't have a porn addiction, right? And then if you look at all the other addictions, so gambling, alcohol, blah, 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 people say, oh, I've got an addictive personality. I've just been like that my whole life. My psychologist says I've got a borderline personality disorder, blah, blah, blah. Let's just have a look and see, how old were you when you first looked at porn? Okay, I was 5. And when did you first start watching it properly? Oh, I was about 10, 11. I was getting magazines from, Bob down the street. Okay, so you've had a brain addiction since you were 5 years old or 7 years old, right? And then it's just a matter of topping that up, pushing the boundaries. It's not enough. You're not getting enough thrill. There's not enough escape, right? So alcohol, drugs, gambling, whatever, right? So just think about, when I'm talking about men and porn addiction, these men were children once upon a time. And I am all about healthy sexuality and masturbating when you're young, rubbing up on stuff, whatever. We've all been there, doctors and nurses with people. It's healthy sexuality. But when kids are making sex toys and they're ejaculating all the time at 12 years old, there's a problem, right? So open discussions with your children around this, right? If you're not sure how, get in touch. There's a whole chapter of this in my new book, and it's really important that you get comfortable and you educate yourself and you understand what's going on as a parent, as a father, as a partner. It affects all areas of your life. So start having these conversations with your kids and stop defending this healthy sexuality thing. Oh, it's normal for kids to watch porn. It's normal for boys to No, it's normal for boys to have curiosity around sex, right? If you throw porn in their face at that age, you are screwing them up for the rest of their lives. I see men in their 70s and 80s. I cannot tell you what this is doing to these men. These men haven't had erections for 20 years and they're still watching porn 2 hours a day, right? If you think that this is not an addiction and you can give up any time, then give it up. Speak to me. I've got a 2-week challenge that I'm going to put the link in the comments. It's a 2-week masturbation challenge. I teach conscious self-pleasure. So we train the body differently, and this is how we break the neural pathways. There's 4 links in the chain. Masturbation, orgasm, ejaculation, and porn. Right? You've got all those 4 links connected up. Right? Even if you're watching it once a month, you have a porn addiction. If you're not sure about that, contact me. We take out porn, that 1 link in the chain, but we have to join the other links back up. That's why suppression doesn't work. That's why no fap doesn't work. You take out porn, masturbation, and all the sexual stuff out of your life because you're afraid and it's triggering you and you don't want to give up porn. It doesn't work. And these guys relapse time and time again because they're not learning healthy sexuality. All right, so my 2-week challenge, you masturbate for 10 minutes every second day. And then there's a whole lot of guidelines around it, right? You have to relax the body. You can't clench your bum cheeks. You have to cover your eyes. And I teach you how to use all 5 senses in terms of arousal, right? Men have stopped learning about arousal. That's why they're not sensual with women, because they're so used to ejaculating and just going hard on themselves to rub one out that they don't know how to touch themselves. They don't know how to then touch women because that's all they've ever known, right? And men, they maybe not know that women like to be touched a certain way. Women will touch you the way that they love to be touched, and men will touch you, women, the way you love to be touched. There's a little tip, right? I won't go into that because that can get into graphic detail and it's a bit early for that. So the 2-week challenge is relaxation, arousal, conscious self-pleasure, 10 minutes every second day. Then the second week, you do nothing. There's a tracking sheet that comes with it. It's only $17. It's a tracking sheet that has you rate your erections out of 10, your sexual energy, your top 2 emotions. You rate your energy levels, whether you had sex, whether you watch porn, whether you masturbated. We try and get you off porn. This can get you off porn. Guys have been watching my videos and reading my books and getting off porn. So it's the awakening part that has to happen. If you go to a psychologist and you're talking about your stuff and you mention porn addiction and whatever, they'll be like, oh, what happened to you in childhood and what are the triggers and whatever. It's just an awareness. I've got an awareness. This is happening. I need education. This is how it works in the brain. This is how to do it. All right. And it's conscious self-pleasure is how you get off porn. So I'll put the link in the comments below. And apologies for such an in-depth conversation at this time of the morning, but it's really super important that you educate yourself and your children around all things about their body, about sex, the opposite sex, sexuality, everything. We knew front bottom, back bottom. That's it. I didn't know where the wee came out. I didn't know what the vagina did. I didn't know what a period was. I just knew there was blood and I was scared, right? I didn't even know about erections. The first time I touched a man, I was like, where's his penis? Why isn't it down like where it's meant to be, over his jeans, right? It wasn't. It was somewhere else because he was excited. And I didn't understand because I didn't know, right? So empower your children with information about their own bodies and someone else's. Rant over. Have a great day. Thank you for watching, everyone. If you've got any questions, pop them down below or PM me if it's too private. I'm going to put my 2-week challenge and my other book, which is aimed at teens, and it has a foreword in it that you can that talks to parents, and it talks to them about how you can actually have these conversations with your kids, because it's all about sexting. I've got the sexting laws in there. If you think they're not sending Snapchat's just released a private folder, which is even worse, right? It's even worse than what it was before. Trust me, you don't understand. Being on a dating site for a long time is enough education to educate you as to what the guys are doing, let alone being a porn addiction specialist, right? So I'll put all of the links in the comments. You can have a look at all of my resources, and I'm off now to write the rest of my book, which is called The Uncensored Threat, Losing Generations to Pornography, because we are losing men suicide is linked to porn addiction. It's a brain addiction, it's a mental health problem, and it links to suicide. So please have conversations with your children so they don't kill themselves because their brain damage is so bad from having a porn addiction from such a young age, right? Even if they tell you they're not watching it, assume they are and keep having those conversations. That is my advice to you today. Thank you for joining me. Happy Sunday, everyone. Bye.